Hey Scorpio, welcome to Eclipse season. Over the next 6 months, your underworld will open and you will be called by your name. You won't just survive it, you will make it your throne. On September 1st, Saturn is going to re enter into Pisces in your natal fifth house. And Saturn retrograding in your fifth, this is a call to really take serious your personal expression, your creativity, your romances, your connection to children, your connection to your inner child. Over the next 6 months, you're going to be prompted to seriously assess where you invest your energy, your time, and things. What are the things that actually bring you joy and personal fulfillment? Saturn is actually taking those things seriously. There can be romantic relationships that are tested. They can reveal where boundaries and commitments and expectations, they need recalibration. Like, they need to be re-emphasize on, even if you're working on like creative projects, you're working with children, whatever you're trying to rush or you're neglecting, when it's like demanding your attention, this is going to be brought to the surface. Even structure, like Saturn is asking you for structure, it's asking you for long-term strategy. And even if you felt like you have fleeting inspiration, this is not going to be enough, because the universe is really asking you to confront fears. The fears that have to do with vulnerability, that have to do with insecurity, that have to do with you feeling imperfect. And you might realize that you've been holding back your true expression just to remain in control. And the only way forward is to embrace discipline, intentional creation, play, and pleasure are not lost to you, Scorpio. They are being refined, they're being tested, they are being elevated. This is elevating you to align to a more authentic sense of self. And on September 2nd, Mercury is going to enter into Virgo in your 11th house. And this is bringing focus to your long term aspirations, and your mind towards connections that actually matter. So, over the next couple of weeks, you can find yourself analyzing group dynamics and weighing the value of your social circle, old friendships, even past collaborations or community projects. They can come under scrutiny. These are conversations that you're having with allies, with colleagues that are more focused on strategy now. And any type of superficial chatter is definitely going to annoy you. Your ideas for the future, and even future endeavors, whether it's community based, whether it's personal visions that you have, these are really trying to come to the surface and bring you clarity. You may notice that patterns that you give and receive, like the patterns that you have, that how you give and receive support, these are the periods this is the period where you are more favored when it comes to connecting with people who elevate your missions. And you can see that the patterns that come up on giving and receiving, they're really going to challenge your thinking constructively, even when it comes to you like aligning to your long-term goals. What are you not doing? What are you not saying? And on September 6th, Uranus is going to retrograde in Gemini in your eighth house. And this is emphasizing over intimacy, sex, resources, shared resources with the next person, and the psychological transformation. So there can be shifts in finances, that have to do with joint accounts, that have to do with inheritance, investments, and this is prompting you to make subtle adjustments. This is a period that encourage you to deeply reflect on the dynamics of power, control, and trust, even in your close relationships. There's emotional intensity that is likely going to come, and you know, this is also prompting like these hidden patterns that come to the surface. There's just a lot of things that are, I wouldn't say hidden, but you do know about, but they're coming to, it's like old wounds coming to the surface to be processed. And you are you are discovering these insights about dependence, about attachments, about manipulations, and even if it's been limiting your autonomy. So you have to let go of these old emotional baggages, these old trust issues. When it comes to renegotiating boundaries, you have to get on that. You have to rethink this shared obligation that you have with the next person. Is it necessary? And change is very uncomfortable, right? But you are ultimately being liberated, and you are allowing yourself to truly reclaim your personal power when it comes to cultivating deeper and more authentic, intimacy and experiences with the next people. Even when it comes to the mind, the mind can really take us to a lot of places, but it can also play tricks on us. It can also keep us in prison and things of that nature, right? And so on September 7th, full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, which is another water sign. This is trining you, Scorpio. So get happy and get get happy. This is a perfect time. I did a video on the full moon solar eclipse with Mel from Divine Feminine Works, and we know that the fifth house is about your joy. It's about your personal expression. And out of all the signs, I think that you're gonna have the most fun with this and most like pivotal events, that has to do with this. It can be a romantic chapter, it can be a combination of a creative project, it can be you finally making a major shift on how you express yourself. You could be feeling real joy, real happiness, and you are compelled to release these attachments to outdated versions of love, of joy, of validation, and really, realizing that what you have been chasing externally may not satisfy your inner needs for authentic expression. This is an eclipse that is going to illuminate what no longer serves your heart. And through this like intensity, that you may feel, it really is going to offer a profound opportunity to reclaim your creative and romantic autonomy. Over the next 6 months, this is an eclipse that calls for a closure, and it's going to ripple down through your personal life and allowing yourself to make space for these fresh experiences, fresh inspirations, healthier relationships, and bold self-expression. Don't forget to watch that video, Scorpio, because we go more in depth in what that actually means for your sign. And I think out of all the signs, and your water sign as well, you will get the most from this experience when you learn how to take your joy seriously. So on September 13th, the sun is going to conjunct Virgo, Mercury in Virgo in your 11th house of mental clarity. This brings mental clarity when it comes to relationships, goals, and also friendships. Like these are mostly friendships and the goals that you have for the future. And during this time, you are exceptionally articulate and strategic in expressing your ideas and connecting with allies and collaborators. You can really finalize a plan that have to do with friends. You can gain insight that have to do with these social networks, or discover these new opportunities through people who really resonate with your vision. And these are long-term aspirations in the 11th house, and they come to really sharpen your focus and align between your personal goals and also what the world needs from you. This type of support becomes very clear to you, and over the next following weeks, because this is a conjunction like a gazimi, you're going to have more clarity in your mind, more mental position, and this is a transit that is going to provide you to organize your resources, to like articulate your needs even, and to plan these strategic um, um, plans, have these strategic plans when it comes to your collective success, or the way that you are connecting with friends, or the way you're connecting with collaborators or people that are like which are like allies or things of that nature. So on September 18th, Mercury is going to enter into Libra in your 12th house. And Mercury in the 12th house, this is a process that is shifting inward, and a lot of people can't see what's happening behind doors, but you're going to experience these engaged self-reflection activities, right? You're reviewing these past experiences, you're uncovering these subconscious patterns that you may have, or things that are influencing your current choices, Scorpio. And this is a time for you to really have this private and really intimate time with yourself. Journal, meditate, and connect with your intuition. There are conversations that can come to the forefront when it comes to yourself, but when it comes to talking to other people, it can be less chitter chatter, more chitter chatter with yourself. More mental energy is gonna focus on like preparation and insight and seeing between the lines, and you can revisit these old patterns and old situations, gaining clarity over them. Even when it comes to unresolved matters, you are planning for the future, so you're gaining clarity over this over the next 6 months. These are insights that you have gathered, that can help you navigate these hidden challenges or these future so-called obstacles that we have, or these are lessons that can even come, that really strengthen your foundations and really strengthen your inner world. So on September 19th, Scorpio, Venus is going to enter into um Virgo in your 11th house, okay? A lot of stuff going on in your 11th, right? A lot of activity. This is a house of collective consciousness, and this is a house of harmony with other people. Well, that's what Venus wants to bring in Virgo. These are supportive allies, these are mentors, these are community networks that are trying to increase, and you're trying to increase with them, you're trying to collaborate with them, and these can become more silver, more smoother, more enjoyable. This is a transit that can encourage you to cultivate connections that inspire you, that elevate you, that energize your long-term vision, your personal vision that you have for the future and for humanity. So over the next couple of months, or even the next couple of weeks, Venus is going to bring attention to your friendships, your networking, and they can be enhanced when it comes to personal growth. Venus is bringing that beauty flair, or that heart-centered flair and compassion, to your professional opportunities. This is energy that supports you celebrating, or that supports you strengthening relationships that are aligning to your let's say your evolving aspirations, right? And so on September 21st, okay, Scorpio, you have to go watch a video on the solar eclipse and new moon in your 11th house in Virgo. Me and Divine Feminine Works go much more in depth on the eclipse, on the eclipses, both of the eclipses. So I'm going to briefly go over what this means for you, Scorpio, because this is activating your 11th house. And so this is the beginning of a transformative chapter in networking and long-term goals and friendships. And over the next couple of months, you're going to find yourself stepping into new communities, pursuing new goals and new collaborations that feel faded, and letting go of these groups and letting go of connections that no longer serve your growth. And these are opportunities that align to your vision, and like-minded people can arise. This is bringing these fresh energy, collective endeavors to your to your to your goals. This is opening doors and opportunities for you that have to do with this social landscape, and this can really shift drastically. This is opening space for allies who actually support your personal and professional evolution. This is a powerful moment for you, Scorpio, because this is a time where you're setting intentions for future ambitions. You're cultivating networks that will help you, bear fruit in the next couple of months. On September 22nd, Mars is entering into your sign, Scorpio, in your first house. Mars is your traditional ruler, so it's giving you a real emphasis emphasize on that energy. You are energetic about your self-expression, your personal initiative, your identity, your drive, your determination, your ambitions. Like, you are really ambitious, and it really surges now because this is compelling you to assert your needs and pursue, goals, pursue them with intensity. Even over the next couple of months, you're going to really be motivated to take action when it comes to initiating new projects. You're going to be leading with confidence. This is a transit that is going to really heighten your courage, your focus, and your desire to embody your like authentic voice and expression. And this is unapologetically, like, you are ready to face challenges and confrontations, and even those things can arise, but your assertiveness and energy can propel you forward if you are channeling this energy constructively. You really feel like, like your personal activity, it's heightened now. Mars in the first house in Scorpio is a perfect time for you, to really like start jumping around, really start running, getting into some type of physical activity as well, boxing even. This is strategic planning too when Mars is in your first house. There can be engagement that really amplifies your benefits when it comes to this potent energy, if you're using it in the right way. If you're feeling like argumentative, if you're feeling rough, if you're feeling really tough, this would be a time where you drop down and start doing some push-ups, or you do some squats, or you do something that can relieve this energy and give it back to the earth, right? And so also on September 22nd, the sun is going to be entering into Libra in your natal 12th house. And this is a time, of course, bringing introspection and healing to you, and reflection to you, and preparing you for these future cycles. This is you stepping back from the public and what it demands from you, and allowing yourself to recharge and, resuscitate reassess, the process when it comes to like your experiences, and how you can keep them in your mind for a long time. When they're just lessons, you have to understand that this transit is trying to integrate these lessons behind the things that you learn in order to prompt you, in your spiritual journey. These are clearing a mental, clutter for you, emotional clutter for you. This can be the time where you want to be in solitude, where you want to meditate, where you want to think about, behind the scenes planning, or even getting to know yourself, again, behind the scenes, and the relationship that you have to yourself, and the relationship that you have to your divinity. This is the energy that really is supporting your resolution, that have to do with lingering issues, that has to do with resolving your inner clarity. You're bringing more clarity to yourself when the sun is in Libra. Well, you're prompt to bring this to your soul, right? Because it's trying to set you up, or set this stage for transformational work. And that's initiated by this eclipse, and it's also initiated by Mars being in your first house. That is going to make yourself more, you're assertive, you're self-asserting yourself. And so when the sun is in your 12th house, this is preparing you for the future. It's really preparing you for, like this recharge, and these experiences that have happened to us, where we're supposed to learn from them, right? And so you have to get rid of all of that chatter and all of that, clutter that is behind you. But sometimes it can come up in you and influence your relationship, and influence your relationships, influence your decisions that you make for yourself, your career, your relationships even. There's a such thing as relational trauma and bonds, and the sun in the 12th house is bringing that to light. How do these connections affect your health, your wealth, and your day-to-day activity, and most importantly, your mental clarity? So that's all I have for you, Scorpio. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Scorpio.